Ready, set, the moment's here. Release the speed, let the drive appear. Let go, give it your all. Chase up in the side of the crowd, call. Get set, get ready, it's bound to go. The charges of the crowd's on the floor. Ready, set, boom, go. Let the game begin. The unleash the chat, boom. Let your spirit win.
What's going on? What's going on, RSG family? We are in the building. We are in the FloSports building. That's where we're at. FloSports, FloTrack. And you know who I roll with is my main man himself, Mr. Rodney Green, the bearded wonder. What's up, baby?
Man, what's up, everybody? I apologize for not being able to be there in the studio in the beautiful FloSports building, but we are still here to bring you great content, post Diamond League, to talk about the races for all of our fans.
Well, first of all, don't you apologize that you're not in the building, man. You are an active coach as well, still in the sport. So you're still doing your thing, man. You are other obligations that have come up. So we are here. You've made it. And we're here to talk about Oslo, man. Oslo Diamond League. It was a cold day. I would say chilly. It was a little more than chilly. It was what, 57 degrees, right?
57 degrees and dropping.
Okay.
Like, as you watch the meet go on, anybody who watched the meet probably like an hour or so ago, you watch bubble jackets come out in the crowd. And those people live there. Usually if it's cold, if you live there, it might not be cold to the people that are natives. But once you see the natives start to put on jackets and cover up and put beanies on, you know it's really cold, especially for a lot of people that train in warm weather climate.
Well, man, being Floridian, you being from the 242, 57 is freezing to us. But there was a lot of good competition that happened in Oslo today. Even with the temperature dropping, there was a lot of good times and a lot of good marks dropped. Let's start off with the women's shot put, with Chase Jackson going out there and dominating off her first throw. And she had the field chasing after her ever since and pulled off the victory. What did you think about when you watched that competition? What did you think about Chase?
Man, I think this is reminiscent of Chase World Championship wins in 2022, where she wins by the first throw. She lets everybody chase her. Just like our title says, the one-hitter quitter. Man, she goes out there, put it out there. She didn't throw as far as the throws of the meet went on. She couldn't get back to the mark that she made the first time. But we see this happen in track and field too. I said 2022, as she was the champion, was Fred Curley. He ran 9.7 in the heats, which was really crazy, you know what I mean, because nobody ever did that. But Fred didn't really worry about it. You put a lot of pressure on your competitors when you go out there and you do a big throw or you run a really fast time, leaving them to sink into okay, now I got to compete against that. What are your thoughts when it comes to that?
Well, I mean, it's almost like that whole mindset of catch me if you can. You warmed up very well. You know that you did what you had to do. Chase went out there and she dropped a bomb of a 20.74 out the hole, her first throw out. And this is very reminiscent of what she did in 2022, 2023, where she won gold in both years of the World Championships. She is the only shot putter as a female who went out there on her first throw and threw, and then she just sat and chilled for the rest of the competition because no one else could be able to match where she threw for her first event, right? For her first attempt, should I say. When you watch her, man, I love that, man. The war paint, she's focused, she's determined, and she just goes out there and drops a bomb. And listen, she's out there dealing with another champion. When you think of Jessica Childers, what we talked about just a couple of weeks ago, where she's also a two-time gold medalist in the European Championship, indoors and outdoors. So it wasn't like she went out there in a lax field. She went out there with a field that knew how to get the job done, but she just got the job done before they did.
100%. I like that you said war paint. If you follow on Instagram, her war paint on her eyes, the eyeshadow, it creates a butterfly from her nose all the way up through her eyeshadow. It creates like a butterfly. So if you take a real good look at when you look at her throw, that's what her makeup looks like. I think that's pretty cool for the girls that follow her and everything else. I think that's dope.
And you speaking of the war paint, the butterfly effect, and the other young athletes who are going to emulate her or try to be able to be inspired by her, you spoke on a little known fact that is female athletes make more money in NIL than men do. And this is one of the reasons why. You have makeup, nails, all these other things that contribute to women's fashion and for women, period, to be able to be themselves and own who they are. So I hope that she's able to go out there and get a deal. And women out there who are in the collegiate realm, high school realm, take note of this. NIL's out there. Be creative with it. Go out there and show who you are, just like Chase Jackson is showing who she is.
Exactly. And that's in the track and field space. But they say, or it's alleged, that women, there's a lot more money involved for women in NIL than men.
Man, we're going to move on also to the women's triple jump, man. Women's triple jump is, they out there. First of all, like I said, it is 57 degrees out there. And none of these ladies out here jumping in long tights. They're not jumping in no long sleeves. They're out there in full uniform getting it done, man. But we also see something a little different than in other sports. Maybe in the distance when it comes to the Ethiopian dominance, but we have Cuban dominance. So we have two ladies that went out there for Team Cuba and got the job done. We have Perez, who got third, and we got Vaqueras, who got first with a 14.85. But they were split by Sally Sarr from Senegal with a 14.75, and that was a personal best for her to be able to split those Cubans apart. When you look at competitions like this where tradition steps into place and you see not only one Cuban, but you see multiple Cubans that are dominating and it's almost interchangeable, why do you see that and what makes that happen?
Man, this is what I think, man. When I was competing, man, the Bombers was a part of the CAC circuit. And they had I can't remember, CAC championships or of some sort one time in Cuba. And I remember they called it their high performance center. There was nothing high performance about that gym where we went. I want to tell you, there's nothing. But I remember watching the Cubans train, and one notable Cuban in particular, and Robles, the great hurdler, still current Cuban record holder. They are very plyo heavy in training. I'm talking jump squats, box jumps, with weight on their back. I remember seeing Robles do jump squats with 225 on his back, which was crazy to me.
First of all, my back will break in half, dog. 225 on my back, jump squats?
It was crazy. And I had to have been 225 because I remember seeing two plates on each side with the barbell, and he's squatting down and he's jumping. You know what I mean? And let's not forget, like, one of the oldest world records that still stands today is the high jump from a Cuban. That's 8 feet. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I just think that their training is heavy in plyos, which make them great jumpers, great bounders. And even when you look at some of the other countries like Portugal and a lot of these other countries that have jumpers, they're of Cuban descent. They're moved from Cuba nationals, and then they represent another country, but they're still Cubans just jumping for another country.
And there you see right there, you see Velasco right there on her first attempt going in there and jumping big with a 14.85. And she's making it look like it's a sunny, warm day out there with big jumps. Boom, 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 landing that jump, getting out that sand, feeling confident in her jump, and saying, hey, we got this. We got this.
That's the same thing. She did the same thing Chase did, though. Her first jump won the meet. But you brought something up when we was watching the meet. You was like, you think that it's unfair because some of the jumps were wind aided, and then some of the other competitors' jumps weren't wind aided. And what's your thoughts on that? Being that you feel like one of the jumpers might have had an advantage in it scored. Like, what's your thought?
Or from coming off a first jump, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you have to set the tone early, very early, clearly, because she still had the Olympic champion there from 2024 who was still jumping as well. So when you look at something like that, you have to make your mark early as possible because each attempt, your energy and it's going to drop. Your legs are going to get tired because for sprinters like how we were, we're in the stadium, we're getting the job done, we're warming up, we go onto the track, roll call, get in the blocks, gun goes off, pow, and then we're done. But when you look at field events, they're out there for almost 55 minutes, man. Sometimes even longer, depending if it's a rain delay or not. So if you know it's in your legs to get it done, you got to get it done early, soon, and you got to make a statement when you get it done.
I definitely agree. I definitely agree. She had the indoor and outdoor world champion there with her also. So it was a stacked field. She had if you're the first jumper, get it out the way early, man. Get out the way early, make them chase you. So great job for her.
Definitely, man. We're going to move over to the women's 400, man.
Now
And
we're
we
getting
have,
into some running.
there we go. We're going to get into that running real quick, man. And with the women's 400, we're going to talk about another shot of Jaeger, man. Jaeger went out there and she showed that she said, hey, it wasn't a fluke that I went and won the first time because I'm coming back and winning the second time and I'm winning on home turf. She went and did her job. She dominated around the track. And that last 100 meters, she just seemed like she didn't even like decelerate at all, man. She kept moving, kept putting down those steps and kept separating herself from the field. When you look at a race like that and you look at someone like her who's trying to step up and show the world who she is, what do you think that's going through her mind in her preparation?
Well, I don't even think the world was on her mind at this point. You always say that you get an extra 10 points for the home field advantage. She was at home. That roar of that crowd and wanting to win in front of your home crowd, that's something that you can't want more than that. To be on your home turf and to win on your home turf, to defend your house, that's something that you want to happen. I think she was very proud to go out there, coming off the last Diamond League win and saying, okay, this is great momentum. I want to ride this momentum going into the meet at home, and I want to win in the front of our fans to show, inspire, and show everybody that she can do it. Now, she had really, really good competition that fell to second and third, but the last 50 meters was excellent, excellently put together to pull off the win in 49.52.
Well, a 49.52 like that in a 57-degree weather, are we going to see more of Jaeger? Do you think that she can be able to hold and sustain this dominance that she's starting to create?
Well, she better with the absence of Polino and the absence of
Nasser?
Nasser.
Mm-hmm.
She needs to. She needs to get as much confidence as she can. She needs to get as close. And now, this is somebody who has a personal best of 49.2. She needs to get her personal best more into the 48 range because with those women, you're going to have to be ready to compete when they come around. So 49.5, we know won't be any type of podium status of these days. She needs to get her performance as closer to 48 as the year goes on.
And you look at her home stretch run, it's very Sydney-esque. It's very Polino and Nasser-esque, where it's not that she's decelerating and trying to hold on to her lead and trying to hold off anybody that's behind her or next to her. She's like, I'm pulling away from the field. So I think that she does have a good arsenal or a good mixture of what she needs to be able to be a dominant sprinter in the 400 for the female side and to show the world that, hey, I'm here. I can also get on that podium too, if necessary.
Man, I wonder if she got like a Jaeger sponsor, like a Jaeger bomb. She should, man. I mean, we had Grant. You know, we had what was the sponsor? I can't remember. It was Vita or Viva.
It was a Viva when he had the cans.
Yeah. Yeah. What if she hit? Like, what if at the end of the meet she hit a shot of Jaeger right after she was? That would have been amazing. That would have been great.
Listen, get a sponsor, get some shares in a company. We don't even know if she's even born into the company. She may have some ties by even just her last name, period, being in that part of that company, man. So
yeah, you never know, man. Hopefully we can get her on the show and we can find out the history and see. But I like how she's trending though. She started off the year pretty rocky indoors. She didn't get what she wanted to get indoors. You know what I mean? Then she moves on, helps her country have a national record in the 4x4 at World Relays, and now she's starting to ramp up her season. So it goes to show it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And I like where she is right now. I think she's rising to become a great person in the 400-meter dash.
Listen, man, I'm gonna say it like this: just how she competes. If you're gonna go out there and have some of that Jaeger, you better be prepared because it's gonna be competition on the track, also in your shot glass, because that Jaeger gonna bite back. You ever had Jaeger?
No.
You never had Jaeger before?
Never.
Oh man,
Never.
you gotta have it. Listen, man. When we get together next time, we're gonna have Jaeger bombs. Me and you.
Lord Jesus.
But it's gonna be on her tab though.
Okay. I got you.
Oh man, we're gonna move over to this 800 meters, man, where the young lion of Cooper stepped up to the plate once again and delivered. Man, you know what? I'm gonna let you lead on this one, man. What did you think about when you watched Lutkenhaus go out there and did what he did in that 800 meters against such a stacked field like that?
All I can say is, man, it's like our title says, whose house? Lucan's house. that's a, that's a, even though that's a great play on his name and everything else, but I mean, this kid is fearless. Him with Wanyonyi inside the race was so crazy because as he made his move on that second lap, they went through the first lap in 49. You know, they were looking for more so like a 50 point with the rabbit taking him out. But when he made his move in that second lap with Wanyonyi, and he made it in front, I was like too early because I like experience over the youth. But obviously, it paid off. Him diving for the line and getting through that finish line in that last stretch proved that Wanyonyi made his move a little too late on the kid, and the kid is on his second Diamond League ring. Let's remember, this kid is 17 years old. So I respect this kid. I am a fan of this kid. This kid is the next big star in our field of track and field. He is. Man. I like him. Look like his opponents like him. They're rooting him on. But right there, when only taps him on the chest, I start looking, hey, this ain't gonna happen no more. I'm gonna make sure I don't give him enough space for this kid to get this win again.
This race strategy really confused me. It had my heart beating because usually when you see Cooper move, he's moving at the 120 mark. And then he's starting to kind of pick up that steam with 50 to go. And then all of a sudden he goes into that full sprint. But when you watch this, it's almost at that 180 mark that he started to make that move. And I remember you saying, Cooper, you moving too soon. You moving too soon.
I did. Because I would have pushed him to wait on Wanyonyi, but he moved. He took it to he didn't wait for the race to come to him. He took it to Wanyonyi early.
He did. And to do so against such a formidable opponent like Wanyonyi, like you have to know that you are confident in your foot speed, especially for that last 50 meters in an 800-meter race like this. And not only did he show that he's mature in his race strategy, he's confident in what he does, and probably between him and his coach, they knew exactly how to be able to run that race the way they need to. They probably analyzed everybody that can be able to be an opponent within that last 100 meters and how to be able to get in front of that pack, hold on to that speed, and be able to dictate how that race was going to unfold. And we didn't see it happen because I was like, no, he's going to die. Because if you watch him run, especially for that last kind of like 50, 60 meters, he kind of was like on the edge of that 100 meter, of that lane one where he's kind of running in lane one, but kind of also a lane two kind of guy. And he spoke about that in his post interview. He's like, I'm more of a lane two kind of guy when I'm coming on the home stretch. But then you kind of see Wanyonyi like trying to figure out exactly where he wanted to go. So he kind of stepped into lane one on the edge, but then he kind of did an okie doke and went out to lane two. And then Lutkenhaus is kind of looking for him over his shoulder peripherally and then said, okay, this is the move you're going to make. All right, let's go. So then as he pulled up next to him and they went stride for stride down that stretch, I was thinking, man, I was like, Cooper, man, you gave too much energy. But then he showed so much guts, so much patience, and was diving across the line to get that win. And that dive, like you said earlier, that dive gave him that W. And I think Wanyonyi thought he had it. He thought he had it. We thought he had it.
Yeah, I thought Wanyonyi got him.
Listen, that's the one thing you don't want to do. And I said that in 2017 is look up at that scoreboard and you think you won and you didn't win. You know what I mean? So,
you celebrate early, right?
When you celebrate too early, you know what I mean? Then you're like, all right, you got this one, but I'm going to see you down the road. And I know that these 800 guys who are definitely formidable opponents, they have Cooper in their sights now because Cooper stood up in a Diamond League race and went toe-to-toe with the best in the world to show them, I'm here, and this is Lutkenhaus' house.
Look, it's easy for them to have Cooper in their sights. If you're in the back of him, you can see him very clearly. That's just how it works. And this kid is just checking out boxes. So now, yeah, you went and got the high school record for America. Then he went and got the gold, turned pro, indoor world champion, first Diamond League, check, first world lead, check. He has the world lead. This is a personal best for him. All I can say is hats off, salute to you, Cooper. Job well done.
I'm wondering where he's going to run that next. I would love to be able to see that. He definitely has brought a fire to the 800, which was not needed because there's a lot of guys out there who are getting the job done and running great times. But this shows you right now that this kid is a junior in high school going into his senior year, and he's running like this. As you watch him run down that straightaway, he knows exactly how confident he is, man. Shouts out to him. Shouts out to that whole field because these guys are really putting down times. I said it last week, man. In my wildest dreams, I never thought I would see a 144 getting 6th, 7th, and 8th place. Now we're looking at that as being almost the norm now.
Which is crazy. And he's the Diamond League winner right now with those 2 wins.
He's a Diamond League winner.
He's a Diamond League. He's in the lead for the Ultimate Championship. He's ranked number 1.
I mean, yeah, he ran 142.08, and you had Wanyonyi went out there 142.09. Lutkenhaus has the world lead and that was a personal best for him, and that was a season's best for Emmanuel as well. So that was a run to the line where it was not short of their best that they've given to us. So happy for them. Hats off to them. Shouts out to them, man. Man, moving on to the next event, another showstopper was the men's 200 meters. It was Tebogo's house, the Tebogo show. When you think about this, and it wasn't just Tebogo out there. We had a good field. We had who got second? Delimbe?
You had Dembele.
Dembele got second, and we also had
third.
The appearance of Gout Gout, who's also in that race. And you watching this race, I was thinking in my mind how it's all set up. It was you had Tebogo out there in front, and then you had Gout Gout who was on his hip on the inside lane. And I'm thinking in my mind, it's like, man, Tebogo's not the best curve runner, and he usually turns on at that 120 mark and starts picking people off. But when you look at how Gout Gout runs, you're like, Gout Gout gets out hard. He separates from the field quickly, as we've seen a lot of his races in the past. But when you watch this race, what did you see and what was different?
What I seen was a welcome to professional track and field for Gout Gout. I seen a master class and Tebogo putting on a show, proving he's starting to round out into shape. I talked about it last show where I say when Tebogo starts to shake that finger and you start to see his teeth, his smile, and his charisma comes out, he knows something that, I'm starting to get in shape. I'm starting to train the way I need to run myself down into shape to get better. He knew he was going to run fast. He knew it was going to be a very comfortable run for him. I think with Gout Gout, this was what I think a lot of the journalists do with Gout Gout, not to take this. I think they put too much pressure on him. I think mentally this race was just a lot for him, being against the Olympic champion. He's sitting on the podium doing press conferences, and he really hasn't done a lot in the sport yet. You know what I mean? No world junior titles, no anything like that. This is not me knocking the kid. He is a talented kid. I just think the world of pushing him forward in the forefront amongst the stars who already have hardware is going to wear on his mental. And we possibly, well, not we, because I won't do it, they possibly will destroy him by pushing him to the forefront and making him feel that he can't accomplish this. Now, do I feel like he ran 19.6? Probably not. Do I feel like this kid is a 20 flat 19.9, 19.8 runner? Yes. Do I feel when he ran the 20.6, is that really him? No. I feel like the pressure got to him, and anybody know about mental pressure, it can cause the body to shut down. And I think that's what happened at the end of the day, why he couldn't perform.
But you also got to take in consideration of the factors that go into being a professional athlete consistently, which is it's not just one of those one-off races where you go and you have fun, go on a trip. You're there for like almost a whole week before you go and compete and you're more acclimated. When you're a professional athlete, you're showing up maybe a day and a half before it's time for you to race. You don't know what the nutrition is going to look like when you get there. You don't know if you're going to be jet lagged, what your sleep pattern is going to be like, your training regimen, when you can get out onto the track, when you can't. Everything is subject to change. as a professional athlete. And obviously, running in 57-degree weather or even colder is also going to be a factor when you go out there and try to compete at a high level. When you're in one of the stadiums, probably one of the most packed stadiums you've been in as well, that can be pressure for you too, because you know all eyes are on you. And I'm not saying that Gout Gout felt any of that, but it's a fact of the consistency it gives a whole new game and a whole new element into track and field for young athletes like Gout Gout. And I believe Gout Gout is a once-in-a-generation kind of talent. And I believe that he's going to grow to be that talent and show us. Same thing as Bolt. When Bolt stepped onto the scene, he's running fast times, but he didn't go out there and win against the big dogs outright in the beginning. He had to take his lumps. He had to be able to know exactly how to perform on a bigger stage and be more confident in how he performed on a bigger stage and have a great strategy. And I think that's the same path for Gout Gout, is to be able to know exactly where your strategy is and execute your strategy to the T. I know Gout Gout is an amazing athlete, and anything I've said in the past was never to have shortcomings or to say that he's not ready or he's not the one that's going to stand up and be the next great sprinter. The possibility is still there for him. He's a young sprinter who's an amazing talent. He does great things for his country and for the sport of track and field, and I want to see more of Gout Gout. When I speak about Gout Gout and the way we speak about him, it is the calling card that we say for a champion and have a champion mindset. And that's what's going to happen going forward. To make sure that he's on his P's and Q's and all those kind of marks are checked off and you're ready to go. You look at champions, they create a bubble of environment. When you go and watch Usain Bolt, he knows exactly what he's going to do from the moment he gets off that plane and he's at whatever foreign country, whatever stadium he's at, he knows what his mission is. He's going to do that. Once you gain that confidence as someone like a young athlete like Gout Gout, then you're going to be able to show the consistency that you have. That transition from youth to professional will be hard for a lot of people, and that's why a lot of people never show up. But Gout Gout's going to show up. Mark my words, he's going to. We shouldn't hang our hat on this performance today saying that this is Gout Gout, because this is not Gout Gout. This is just a learning curve for Gout Gout that he will overcome very soon. With that being said, go ahead.
I agree with that. I think development is definitely going to be good. You know what I mean? Moving from the junior ranks to the senior ranks, I think this is definite. Welcome to the professional world of track and field. This was his welcome, running against athletes of his caliber. Everybody know you have a different type of confidence when you run against people you know you could beat. But as when you run against people you're not sure that you can beat, it brings a different type of pressure. So,
oh yeah,
you're definitely correct.
And if I was his coach, I would have said, let's catch these professional athletes early on in their season when they are still a little bit waking up and a little bit rusty, trying to knock the rust off. Because going against a more rested Tebogo that had to go through a whole gauntlet through the world relays, and then he ran a couple of races to get back into his form that we see what he was today. You know, he took a couple L's along the way. And when he did that little finger wag that we saw before, that showed that he's ready. He ran such a clean 19.8, easy 19.8, and I think that he's ready to go 19.6 very soon. So, man,
19.8 and 57 degree rather. So,
yeah, with little arm swing.
Yeah, but if he could definitely say, I can't wait to watch him and Noah lock up. Watching him and Noah lock up in the 200 is always fun for me because they have an unspoken competitiveness against each other. They don't say much. Noah does the jumping around and the screaming, and Tebogo does the standing there with his hand on his hip, like, "Are you done? Are you done? Are you done?"
Yeah. Well, you know, those opposites attract, and when they get on the track and they do that, they're going to put together magic. I can't wait to see more of it. But we're going to take a break right now, and we'll be right back. Stay tuned. Break. I want to talk a little bit about also from Athletes Lounge just a few minutes ago when they was talking about, you know, Gout Gout's performance and they had him on the post interview. They also had Tate Taylor come in and kind of talk a little bit through the 200 meters. And then he had an opportunity to ask Gout Gout a couple of questions. I found that so cool because at the end of the day, it's like two rivals that are going to work with each other or compete against each other in the future. They're having that camaraderie to speak to each other and to talk about their races, their shortcomings, but also their victories, and having respect for each other. I think that's a really cool thing. I didn't get a chance to have that in my career, so to see that they can be able to do that between themselves, and also knowing that they're going to lock horns later on this year, it shows that that's a special thing to have. I want to see that race, and I know you all want to see that race too. Rod,
Yeah,
what did you
it's
think about that
definitely.
when you saw that?
I saw that. I thought it was cool. I thought it was cool. I think our fans and the people would think Gout Gout and Tate Taylor are on two different paths. Uh, I mean, as 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 Tate Taylor has performed against some of people who are not his peers this year. Like he's only competed against professionals in the beginning part of the year, and he's been very successful. They would see their trajectories in two different ways, um, but I think it's definitely good. I definitely needs to see how Gout Gout rebounds off this race. For me, being that we just saw Tate Taylor go and run the national record of 19 seconds in the 200. But it was against a professional, a newly bred professional. But we've watched Tate Taylor compete against Noah Lyles also. So, like I said, them both is on two different trajectories for me right now until I see better out of Gaga.
Listen, this era is a way different era than when we competed. You know, when we were young athletes coming into the game, we had to earn our spot. And a lot of times the veterans, even the ones we looked up to, didn't pay us any attention at all. They didn't show us any love or any respect. You had to earn your respect every step of the way, every stride, every race. And I remember racing with Asafa Powell through a lot of the B races overseas, and we had to work our way up into the A races. Now you see more of these young athletes who are able to jump into these high-profile power races, and it may be good and it may be bad. You know, those are things that we're debating, we're talking about. But I like the fact of there's a connection, there's some kind of camaraderie and sportsmanship that shows that they understand, they respect each other, but they also all want to beat the best, and they're putting out their best times and their best foot forward, man. With that being
I think
said, who?
okay. Oh,
Say,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No, no,
No,
no.
no, go
I
ahead,
was
bro.
going to say the difference with that too is if you haven't watched our interview with Asafa and Justin, they haven't talked to each other directly for like over like 15 years of competing, right? And that was the first time they had like a real drawn out conversation. I think this changes that dynamic. It doesn't make the whole, oh, you over there, I'm over here. We have these two high level competitors as having conversations who possibly might end up being friends throughout their career. So that's not theirs. Like you would say back in our era, like Crips and Bloods. Hey, y'all over there. We ain't talking to y'all. We ain't talking to y'all.
It was because it was like you felt like if you gave even an inch to say hello or to speak to your opponent, it made you look weak sometimes. You had to look like you were the strongest, most intimidating athlete that they're going to compete against. You had to have a poker face. At least that's what was taught to us. And then after time passes, you realize the people that understand what you go through in your career, in your sport, the wins, the losses, the gold medals, the camaraderie, the contracts you sign, just life in general when it comes to the track and field space, the only ones who understand what you go through are actually the competitors that you go against. And when the dust settles and you're retired, those are the people that you actually gravitate towards because ain't nobody else, your mama, your daddy, your wife, your daughter, your sister, your brother, your kids, all of them, they're not going to understand at an intimate level of what you have done and what you have to go through your career. So it's very odd to be able to see that as an athlete, you see athletes at a young age of 16, 17 years old emulating that already as a retired athlete would do. But I like to see it very much so. With that being said, we're going to move over to the next high-powered race of the women's 100 meters and the power of Julien Alfred, man. Juju is in the building once again, and it didn't matter if it was St. Lucia warmth or if it was Oslo cold, she got the job done. And she didn't even get to a whole full set into her position at the starting line and was able to still get the job done, pull it through, and she did what she did. How'd you feel about that, man, when you watched this race? Look at that. She didn't even get all the way up to a whole set position. That's how strong Julien Alfred is, man, to be able to pull that off and to be able to pull a win out in this cold.
What I definitely feel about the race, I feel like she needed to see that number. Now, even though they say it's 3.2, a lot of people will be like, oh, it converts back to 10.9. Yeah, we would say that about anybody else, but for Julian, that was needed to be seen by her. For a state of mind that she's in it right now, she needed to see 10.75. And the run was swirling, like it wasn't like a constant 3.5 down the wind because even on when they were jumping, you had some jumps that were winded and some that were not. It just happened to have that gust during the 100 meters. So I think it was definitely a great run. This is the most emotions I've seen out of her, out of a regular Diamond League win, which lets me know that she's in a great place. You know what I mean? She's happy to just be competing. She's happy to be healthy. But I think it was a well executed run by Julian to run 10.75. And it was good enough for the young lady that got second also. And her being Great Britain, Amy Hunt. This is another 10.99 on the books, being consistent. But like I said, even though the win says 3.2, I don't believe it was a true 3.2. And I know Julian could run this time. So that's what I think.
So, two things. When I love the expression and the emotion that Julian's showing now after her races, because before it looked like she just was like, I got to be here because I got to be here, right? And in her post-interview with FloTrack, she told the Athletes Lounge, I'm the hunter now. I understood that I took my L last year. I am the reigning Olympic champion, but I got to go out there and show the world I'm still here and I can get the job done. And she's done an amazing job thus far this season by doing that. She said, I had to work on my first half of my race. I got to stay strong through my transition, and I got to be able to close very strong through the finish. And you already mentioned that, Rod, when she talked about, going out there doing those 400s, those 200s, and that's helping her giving that base. So when she goes out and runs these hundreds, it's that 10-6 caliber race that she's going out there and showing the world. Also for her 200s, that's that 21 caliber kind of race that she's showing. So the excitement that came from her to run a 10.76, even though it was a 3.2 win, we know that she can do that in real time and better. So that wasn't a question mark at all. I'm glad that she was able to go out there, stay comfortable, stay poised, just go out there and do her job, exercise her race strategy when she really, truly needs it against other athletes that can be able to run the same times that she runs. The real race for me was everyone that was jockeying for position to get that second place. And why I say that is because you look at Amy Hunt, you look at Biscoff, and you look at all
Hobbs.
the other ladies, and you look at Hobbs. Those ladies are in that ratio of 11-0, trying to crack into that sub-11 stage. And Amy Hunt has proven herself from her last race where she ran 10.90. You know what I mean? And she
92,
has
10.92.
10.92 for a PR. That's her personal best to come back into 50-degree weather, basically, and run 10.99. She's showing that she's capable of running sub-11s consistently. And Hobbs and Biscoff are not far behind. That was the race for me that I wanted to see these ladies step up to the plate.
Yeah, that was the race for you. And there was great runs out of those ladies. But I can't wait for Miss Richardson. I can't wait for Melissa Jefferson. I can't wait for Julian. I can't wait. We haven't seen her for the year and 100. Sharika Jackson, Tina line up in this 100 to go down this way. I want to see it. I want to see it.
Well, first of all, you can't.
And Elaine. I can't forget
That's
Elaine.
all I'm about to say. You can't leave out Elaine now. She's already dropped the 10.90. I think she dropped 10. I think she dropped 10.90 before a lot of these ladies even dropped 10.
She did. So I cannot forget about Elaine, but I'm more interested in the Sharika. We haven't seen her in 100 this year. I'm more interested in that 100-meter run. But, I know we possibly won't get all of them at the same time, but I can't wait to see at least 3 of them lock up in each Diamond League later down the road. But those are the ones I want to see.
All I'm saying is it's not a championship year, so it can be a couple of shootouts across the world. They may line it up just to see where they at, be able to iron sharpens iron in these situations. I want to see that. Pow, 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 pow. I want to see them ladies all lined up at one time. Maybe Diamond League Finals will be able to bless that for us.
Hopefully we'll get that.
Man, moving on to the men's Dream Mile. It is to the line Dream Mile, man. And your boy the Goose stepped up to be able to show off his talent once again. But he was not alone in this one. And it was kind of like it was an upset at the end. What did you think about this race, man? And what did you think about the Goose? Because, I mean, this would have been a 3-0 for him right now. He would have been on a roll, and he just got nipped at the line. You know what I mean? So that race right there was very similar to the 800 meters, but it was no fall.
But you said it earlier. The camera review came up about the race, and his name came up first, but it still had the little box camera next to him and Chevette name. Oh, Tim, let me just call him Tim. Both still had it next to both their names. He thought he had won, man. He did his little song and dance and did the whatever that was. And then his name came up second, and then he lost.
Hey,
I was like,
I still love the dance, though. Listen, he deserved to do that dance, win or lose. This was a great run for both men, Chariot and also for Goose. They did an amazing job, obviously with an equal time of running 3:48:21, both season's best. So they both put their best out there. So that deserves a dance, man. They both need to go out there and dance. And y'all go ahead and ship all your Uncrustables to Goose because that's his favorite snack from what I hear. So, and y'all give a shout out to his turtle too.
I'm pretty sure Goose going wait next time. I know he was like,
what do you mean? He waited though. He waited because his name came up on the board.
But the camera was still by both their names, like the little camera, meaning this place is under review, and then the time hit, and then their names flop.
Man, all I can say is sometimes when you're feeling good, you gotta dance, baby. You gotta get it in. You know?
This coming from the man who won from the outer lane, who waited to see his name and then shushed everybody. You waited. Now imagine you did that, and then your name flopped. You would have shushed yourself.
That was a little different. That stadium wanted to see the Goose win. I don't know if the stadium I was in wanted to see me win. So that's the difference in that situation. Exactly. So I had to hold back my dance until later on at the hotel. Man, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty of things, where we're talking about the women's 400-meter hurdles, and it was a race that shows that it was a 3-for-3 for Zep. Is she showing dominance? Is this what we're seeing? Is this very similar to the emergence of when Sydney jumped into the game, or when Delilah was out there in her prime? Is this what we're watching? Are we watching someone who's getting very comfortable in their race form and strategy and going out there and showing who she is no matter where the race is around the world?
I wouldn't compare it to Delilah or Sydney because they were childhood prodigies and their ceiling was so much higher at a younger age. But because they were running so fast at a young age, it seemed like their trajectory was like beyond the moon, right? With her, she's starting to rise in their absence, right? I think this is definitely good for her. She's going from the one being unexpected to win to now she's going to be expected to win for the three of three. So now you look at it in this race. I would have thought Jones was going to make sure she stayed dominant on her, but I think she had a little bit of confidence after beating the silver medalist and coming off her last 2 wins in the Diamond League. She's now expecting herself to win and keep these wheels moving. Now I think she's going to have a different goal of wanting to sub 52 because she knows if any one of those competitors come back to this event, this is not enough. She knows 53s is not enough. She knows 52 nines is not enough. She knows that. So in her head, she knows the next championship cycle, I'll have to be ready. For the Sydney McLaughlin, the Femke Bowl, and anybody else who's willing to come. You know what I mean? But she's definitely going to try to get ready to run as close to 51 or even sub 51 as she can before those competitors come back.
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. I think, but looking too far ahead, right? I think Zeplova is looking for now. She has to prove who she is in this field against these competitors and how she can be consistent and dominating in this era right here. You know, with the absence of Femke Ball and Sydney, like you say there's a void. Well, how do I fill that void? By being just consistent. Consistent enough to be in front of whoever that is out there that I need to be able to run down, dominate, and come across that line. She's 3 for 3, bro. She's 3 for 3 right now. And we're not saying early in the season. We're saying like we're going to mid-season right now. So people are really kind of finding themselves, finding their groove, finding their race pattern. And she's being very aggressive on the backstretch. She's chipping away on the turn, and she's pulling away on the home stretch. And she's showing more dominance. I think it's going to have to be a step up for all the other competitors that are in those races to kind of like take that time to analyze someone like Zeplova and see how she runs her races to be able to combat that. You know, it's a grab. That's what it is. When a void when a void's made, it's a grab. We saw that in the sprints. When I left, when Bolt left, it was, all right, who's next up? And you saw a lot of inconsistent races, but then you start to see athletes starting to drop faster and faster times. So I think Zeplova got that message earlier than a lot of the other ladies, and now those ladies are going to start to kind of turn up as the season progresses. 53-13 in 52-degree weather. I'm going to say 52 because it started off the day with 57, so it kind of had to drop. So in 52 to 55-degree weather, that's not a bad run at all.
No. I think for people who feel like, for her competitors who feel like they're better than her, she's no longer the hunter. She's the hunted with 3 for 3. Because the people who believe that they should be beating her, like Anna Cockrell and some of the other medalists, they don't believe, and they shouldn't believe that she's better. Because in their head, they have the hardware, they did the work. They're home now training, so when they do race her again, this ain't going to be a 4 for 4 or a 5 for 5 like at Wendy's. That's not going to happen. Her next race, it's not going to happen, bro. I think her next race, she lined up with like the likes of an Anna Cockrell or somebody else. They're going to be ready for her. This is like a punch in the mouth that you wasn't ready for when you go out and you're like, man, who is that? You know what I mean? So I think definitely when we see her race again, these people who believe that they're better than her are going to have to run astronomical races to beat her because her coach is going to tell her, you are better than them who are trying to beat you. And her coach is going to tell her that she has to fill the void that's missing with the Sydneys and everything else. Believe that you got to be delusional for yourself first. You and your coach got to be delusional and be like, yes, I can do it. You know, that's where the belief starts. And then sometimes it comes into fruition.
So in sports, the right kind of delusion can equal dominance. That's what you're telling me.
Listen, I've heard a story about a young man who said he was going to break the world record 2 years or 3 years before he did it. They asked him how he trained. He said, I trained on a world record model when he wasn't on world record pace. 3 years later, he breaks the world record, and this is Carson Warholm, and being one of the only people to run sub 46 seconds in the 400-meter hurdle. But if you asked him 3 years prior, breaking the world record, he was running 48 seconds 3 years prior. Everybody would have told him, you're crazy. You know what I mean? Is he crazy?
No, I mean, clearly he's not crazy. He's a little crazy. The way he runs is a little crazy, but he's not crazy at all because clearly he has made his mark, made history, and he's a legend in our sport, hands down, you know? So with that being said, we're going to move over to the men's 400-meter hurdles with the legendary Warholm on his home turf, competing against his new rival, and a rival of the ages between Dos Santos and Warholm. Now, when I look at this, when I first looked at the chart of lane assignments, it had Warholm, I believe, in 7, and it had Dos Santos in 6. And I was like, Warholm, why'd you do this to yourself, man? Why'd you allow your toughest, most dangerous competitor to be able to pace you and gauge your speed and your effort around the track and then be able to think that you're going to be able to take off from him? He's watched you for years, and now he understands how you run your race pattern. This strategy and this kind of like lane dominance, and that's what it is, because now when you have athletes who are of equal capability, it's all about the lane choice. That's why they have technical meetings. Am I right, Rod? That's why they have technical
100%.
meetings. It's all about
100%.
lane choice. So when you think about lane choice, it takes you back to when Sydney and Dalilah Muhammad used to battle each other from meet to meet. And they used to fight over who was going to have what lane, because dominance is, if I can pace off of you and you're in front of me, I know how to conserve my energy. I know how, when you're going to move, because I can see you, and I know how to combat that and how to be able to get that edge over you. And every time that happened, when you watch Sydney and Dalilah, it was whoever had the best lane usually won that race. And now I think that's what we're seeing when we see a Warholm versus a Dos Santos. Dos Santos had lane 6, Warholm had lane 7. Warholm was on that same catch me if you can vibe. Dos Santos was like, you're not going anywhere. I'm pacing you from the beginning, and we're gonna run this race toe to toe until I'm ready to step away from you in the last 50 meters of this race. And that's exactly what happened. So Santos has said that to us when we sat down and had an interview with him, where he said, I understand my opponents, I understand Warholm, and I know that where I need to move is lane hurdle 7. Hurdle 7 is where I need to make my move, and that's exactly what he did when you watch this race. He moved at hurdle 7, and he just kept smoothly creating distance, and it didn't even look like he rigged up going across that finish line. He was just so poised. If you watch this race right here, look, Rod, usually Warholm is so far out that everyone is kind of panicking and trying to figure out how can we reel him back in. And now they run to his cadence, and everyone's struggling to catch him, but not anymore. Dos Santos said, I'm running with you, and then once we get to that hurdle 7, I'm going to take it from here, my friend. And that's what he did.
I think how we just spoke about delusion. I think Carson Warholm is still delusional. Like, in his head, he was thinking, and this is what I think that he was thinking, I'm going to take him out, take Dos Santos out so hard and break him. But the funny thing is when you take somebody like Dos Santos out in the deep water of going out that hard like Warholm does, Dos Santos could swim. Because he took him in that deep water, and that boy started swimming on him. So I think once you watch them move through the 5th and the 6th hurdle, just like you said, he couldn't shake Dos Santos. As Dos Santos steps get bigger going into hurdle 7, 8, and 9, he couldn't be stride for stride with Dos Santos anymore. And then let's remember, Dos Santos is in very good shape. Opening the season in the 400-meter dash with 44.3. That's not the kind of leg speed that Warholm has right now. Warholm can't run that fast. So Dos Santos could be very comfortable in any type of scheme because he's a skilled hurdler, any type of scheme run he wants to run. He could take it out fast, or he could lay back and then charge at the end. When you have the foot speed of 44.3 and you're a great hurdler, you could run the race basically however you want.
This is
because
true.
you have the strength to do so.
This is true. This is true. Do you feel that Dos Santos has created like an overhaul for himself? Like he went back into the shop and said, I'm going to get stronger in the gym. I'm going to run faster flat 400s. I'm going to work on my speed. And you obviously look at his body. He's not that slim frame anymore. He has more of a bulk to him. He has muscles to him now. And he's showing a stronger power output when he's out there competing. Do you think that's one of the secrets that he's used to be able to make him a faster and more deadlier opponent? Because to run 46, what do you go out there and 46.89 in that kind of weather compared to Warholm on home turf, where usually you get an extra 10 points? Warholm went out there and ran 47.40. what do you contribute to the consistency and the success for someone like a Warholm? I mean, for someone like a Dos Santos, who has shown that he's 4 for 4 against his top component.
Well, he's a part of the big three. He acknowledges Ry Benjamin. He acknowledges Warholm, their talent, and their wins over him. But let's not forget, in our interview, when we talked to Dos Santos, he said he wanted to be one of the best to ever do it. He's still on pace to do that. He's still working to do that. I attribute that to his mindset because to be the best to do it, he doesn't have to be this. Don't have to be the best this year. It's going to be the year of the next 3 years, in which we call a championship cycle, where we go to Worlds in 2027, we go to the Olympics in 2028, and we look at Worlds again in 2029. So if he can be dominant in those 3 years, beat the big three, even the ones emerging coming after him, he would have solidified himself as the best to ever do that event.
I agree 100%. And you see the efforts of people like Nathan Ezekiel or Trevor Bassett, who has just ran 47:30 something. So they're right there kind of nipping at the heels of these two titans that have shown how to be able to progress the 400 hurdles in our sport, right? So it's soon to be new guys, new blood, new competition. And I think someone for Warholm, he needs to be able to kind of reinvent, that Viking that he is and show us a different look of competition when he steps out on the track. Because we know it's in him. He's a super talented athlete. But now it's time to show us you can run from the front, but let's see if you can run from the back as well. Let's see if you can be that complete athlete.
Well, I mean, he changed the game for the 400-meter hurdles. Once he sub 46.
Oh, and the 300-meter hurdles too.
Yeah, he changed the game. So in his head, when people see somebody like Warholm do that, they're like, why not me? So he progressed the whole event of the 400-meter hurdles because he was the first to sub 46 seconds. So what's happening to Warholm, what I think or what I believe, is he still has the same race pattern that he had for years. But it's still a good race pattern. His time is still fast. It's just that the world has caught up. Training has gotten better throughout his different people he compete against, and they're catching up to the times that he used to put out. Now they're a lot closer, and now they're beating him. So now he has to figure out how to level up again.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Well, that wasn't his last opportunity. We have a couple more things coming down the pipeline for you. Well, actually, not a couple more things, a lot more things. Because you can look at our schedule, our RSG recap with FloTrack, and we have Oslo is in the books, so everyone can go ahead and just put their bubble jackets away because we're going to go June 9th over to Doha, Qatar, and we're going to go to June 19th. I'm sorry, 19th. June 19th is going to be Doha, Qatar. June 28th, Paris. July 10th, Monaco, which is one of my favorite places. We're going to pop over to London on July 18th, and then August 21st, Lausanne, which is my favorite track to compete at. And we're going to move to Zurich, August 27th. And we're going to go to the Diamond League finals in Brussels for September 4th and the 5th, man. So we have a long schedule ahead of us and a lot more competition to come. So the audience that's following us and following the Athletes Lounge and FloTrack, stay tuned. We have much, much more coverage to come. And we're happy to be here and happy that you're here with us.
Remember, guys, if you guys like us here, like, share, follow, Ready, Set, Go at FloTrack and FloSports.
With that being said, end of our segment. We'll see you next time on Ready, Set, Go.
Ready, set, the moment's here. Release the speed, let the track appear. Let go, give it your all. Chase up in the side of the crowd, call. Get set, you ready, it's time to go. The charges to the crowds on the floor. Ready, set, boom, go. Let the game begin. The unleash the chat, boom. Let your spirit win.